In this video, we're going to take a look at the new windowed mode that Apple introduced with iPadOS 26. With windowed mode, not only can we open up our apps in different windows, much like on a Mac, but we also have a menu bar, much like on a Mac. Let's take a look at this new windowed mode introduced with iPadOS 26 on the iPad. Now, if you find this video helpful, stick around to the end. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself and how you can help support my efforts in creating these videos. All right, let's take a look at this new windowed mode introduced with iPadOS 26. Let's go over to my iPad. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to put the iPad into windowed mode. So we go over here to our Settings app. I tap on it, and then we swipe up until we see Multitasking and Gestures. Under Multitasking and Gestures, what we're able to do is switch between three different modes. So what we're going to focus on in this video here is windowed apps. This was introduced with iPadOS 26. Basically, what we're able to do is we're able to open up all of our apps into Windows, much like we can on the Mac. And it works really quite well. So let's go ahead and tap on this to put it into windowed mode. It's in windowed mode. Nothing changed. Let's go to a different app. We're going to go to Safari. I tap on it. It's still taking up the full screen. So nothing changed. Well, actually, one thing did change. If we look in the lower right-hand corner, you're going to see that we have this little grab handle. That means that this app is now a window. It's just taking up the full display. But what I'm able to do is I'm able to grab that and resize this window. So now I grab this, and you're going to see I'm able to resize this. And now it's a window. So let's go and do that with the Settings app. I tap on Settings. Everything looks like it's in full screen, but if we look, we have the little grab handle. So now I just drag that, and we have our window. Now, what it's doing when we put it into windowed mode is it's creating a space. If you're familiar with full screen windows, I talked a little bit about this when we're dealing with our apps in full screen, a real simple way to work with your iPad. Basically, what the iPad has is spaces. So when I go to my whiteboard here, my blue board here, what we have are different spaces. When we open up an app in full screen, it goes into a space. If I open up another app, it's its own space. Open up another app, it's its own space. Open up another one, it's its own space. Well, essentially, this is an app, this is an app, this is an app. When we go into our windowed mode, this last one right here is actually where we have all of our windows. So if I open up this app here, what it's going to do is it's going to move it into that space. I hope that makes sense. So let's go back over to my iPad. And we're looking at that one space on the far right. And if I want to go to the other space, how do we do that? Well, if you watch my video on how we work with apps in full screen, basically we take 4 or 5 fingers and we're able to swipe over to the right, and it takes us to the previous space. And there's my Messages app. I swipe again, 4 or 5 fingers, I'm looking at my notes. So all of these are different spaces. And when I drag this handle here, remember what it's going to do? It's going to close this space here and move it into that windowed space. So now I'm going to drag this, and it is no longer a full screen app, and it's in that windowed space. So that's basically what's happening. So essentially, again, we have all these different spaces, and this is just another space. And I can easily swipe with 4 or 5 fingers to get to my different spaces, including this space here. So we can still deal with apps in full screen. We don't have to open them up in Windows, and we just take 4 or 5 fingers to swipe between them. I can also view all of my spaces by swiping up and pausing. When I swipe up and pause, this is where I can see all of my open apps. Well, right now I'm looking at my windowed space, and if I swipe over to the right, I'm looking at all my apps. So if I wanted to open up the App Store here, tap on it, and now it's a window. So now this window here is covering up all of my other windows. Remember, I have multiple windows here. I swipe up and pause, I can see all those windows. I have 5 windows in there. But when I look at paste here, it's covering it up. Well, that's because those are behind it. So what do? Well, we can either resize it, make this one smaller, take this little handle and we can make it smaller or larger. Or what I can do is I can just move it. To move a window, we just go to the top bar here, just like we're on a Mac or a PC, and I just drag it and move it around. So I can move it down towards the bottom, and now I can take this one. I'm just grabbing that top bar and moving them around. And you can see we have full window control here, just like we're on a Mac or a PC. If you want to open it up in full screen mode again, what you need to do is you need to tap on the 3 dots. You're going to see that this is in the upper left-hand corner of each window. We can see it here on the messages window. The other ones are covered up or off the screen. So what we do is we just tap on that, and what those will do is those will grow up a little bit larger because they're touch points for the iPad, of course. So I tap on it, and they're a little bit larger. The red X is going to close it, close that window. The minus, the yellow minus there is going to minimize it. And then the green arrows there, that is going to open it up in full screen mode. So let's first close it. I tap on the red X. It closes it. So basically just close that app there, or that window. And now this is the active window. So let's go ahead and tap on that again. Gets a little bit larger, so I can easily tap on it. And now we'll tap on the yellow minus. That's going to minimize it. And you can see it put it into Safari. It put it into the dock in Safari. To open it back up, what we do is we bring the dock back up, and we can just swipe up slightly here. When I swipe up slightly, we have the dock, and I tap on Safari, and it brings that window open. So it minimizes it into the app. So again, let's go with Notes here. Tap on it. I'm going to minimize it. Brings it into the dock, and we can see it's here in the dock. It disappeared there. So I just swipe up a little bit, and now we can see that I have my notes here. When I tap on that, it's going to open up that note again. And then the last one brings it back into full screen. So I'm going to tap on the green dot here, and when I do, brings it back into full screen. So that's how we can easily close a window, minimize it, or even bring it back into full screen. But we have more options with those dots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swipe over to the left here to get back to all of my windows with 4 fingers. And we're going to go over here. If I tap and hold on that, you're going to see that not only can I close it, minimize it, and open it up in full screen, but I'm also able to move and resize it, as well as fill and arrange. So let's go and move this over to the right side here. So I tap on that icon there, and when I do, we can see it fills up the right side. It's still a window. I can go and drag this around and move it. It just fills it up for tap and hold. It fills it up on the right side there. What other options do we have? Well, let's tap and hold. Let's take a look at fill and arrange. This is our second set of rows here. What I want to do is I want to arrange these into 4 squares here. So I tap on that, and now we can see it arranged all the windows. I have 3 windows open, so it arranged those 3 windows into 4 squares there. So not only can we tap on these to close, minimize, and open it up in full screen, but if we tap and hold, we can also move and resize, as well as fill and arrange. Now we also have a menu bar, and the menu bar will be for the active window. In this case here, this is my active window here. This is why they are in color. If we look over to the left, these 3 dots here are no longer in color, which means that that is not the active window. If I tap on it, you're going to see that that becomes the active window. So what we're able to do is we're able to show a menu bar for the active window, for the active app. So right now, my active app is the Settings app. So if I want to see the menu bar for it, what I do is I just flick my finger from the top of the display. I call it flicking. We don't want to actually drag it down. I just flick my finger. It makes it a little bit easier. So I just flick it, and you're going to see we have Settings, File, Edit, View, Window, and Help. So I'm in the Settings app, and when I tap on Settings, I can find out about this iPad. just like we can on a Mac. You're going to see that this is very familiar if you're working on a Mac. I go to Edit, I have my edit functions, I View, Window, and then Help. So what's going to happen when I tap on this window here? It's going to change, well, it's going to disappear, but it's going to change when I flick down into Safari, because that's a Safari window. So now what I'm able to do when I go under File is I'm able to create a new window. I can go and open a location. I can even go and import browsing data. It's like I'm on a Mac. And if I want to go to my history, I just go up to History here. And now I'm looking at my history. And not only do we have our menu bar there, but we also have key commands. So I know that I can go Command Y to show my history. So if I have a keyboard on here, which I do, I could go just type Command Y and it'll show my history. So we can easily go through all of our menus just by tapping on it. The menu does not show by default. It'll disappear here. To view the menu, what we need to do is we need to just flick our finger down. When I flick my finger down, I get the menu bar. Now this menu bar does not always show. Right now it's just staying there because I tapped on it, but if I tap anywhere, you're going to see that it disappears. We cannot have the menu bar show like we can on the Mac. It's always going to be hidden, but all we have to do is just flick down and we can see that menu bar. And it's going to show for the active app. To see which app you're in, you can see the first menu. This time I'm in Safari. So when I tap on this window here and I flick down from the top, you can see that it's the menu bar for the App Store. So that's how we can view our menu bar on the iPad. Now, how do we get back to our home screen? I want to see all of my apps. How do we get back to our home screen? Well, being that this is just a space, all we have to do is just swipe up from the bottom here. We don't add a pause in there. We just swipe up, brings us to our home screen. And the nice thing about this is it separates all of our windows out. So we can see that we still have our windows here on the left and right. So if I wanted to open up Keynote, I tap on Keynote. It opens it up in full screen. And I can just drag this. And now it's a window. I want to view my home screen. I swipe up. And now I can view my home screen. And I can easily go back to all of my other windows by tapping on it. So you just swipe up to go back to your home screen. Now we do have a few settings for this. Let's go back over to my settings app, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into full screen mode. So I tap on the green dot. Tap on it to make it large, and then tap on the green dot. So I'm in my windowed mode. First option we can do is we can close all windows after swiping home. So remember how those windows spread apart? They're just on the edges. If you would rather close those windows, you can do that. I recommend leaving this off. I like to have them move over to the side. I don't want to close all the windows. I just want to see the home screen, maybe open up another app. But if you do want to simplify it a little bit, you can close all the windows after swiping home. You can also automatically show and hide the dock. I recommend leaving this one on. So when I am in my windowed mode, so I'm just going to swipe over to the right, I'm in my windowed mode, and I swipe up from the bottom, you're going to see that we have my dock. Well, when I go and move a window around, that dock disappears. I thought I had it set for, if we look at this, you're going to see that I have it set to automatically show and hide the dock. It is turned on here. So why is it not showing the dock? Well, that's because I have windows down at the bottom. Watch what happens when I move this window up and this window up. So I just move it up. And we're going to take this one and move it up, and lo and behold, we have the dock. So if we have a window that is in this lower part here, the dock will disappear. But if we don't have any windows in there, it's going to show. If you don't want to have the dock show at all, where you have to swipe up to view it, you turn that off. I like to leave it on. Our next one here is swipe to reveal the menu bar. You can turn this off. Now, when you turn it off, it doesn't mean that the menu bar is always going to show. You're basically not going to be able to get at that menu bar. So if you don't really care about that menu bar, you can just turn that off and then you'll never see the menu bar. And then we have our 4-5-finger app switching, just like we do when we're in full screen mode. I can go home by pinching with 4 or 5 fingers. I can swipe to the left or right with 4 or 5 fingers, and then I can also open the app switcher by pinching or swiping up and pausing. We have productivity gestures. This is where we can double tap with 3 fingers to undo. We can also pinch and spread with 3 fingers to copy and paste, things like that. If you don't want to use that, you can turn that off. There is shake to undo. You make a mistake, you can always shake your iPad, don't drop it, and then it'll undo it. And then we have swipe from corner. You're going to see that we cannot turn that on. This only works when we're in full screen app mode. It does not work on these two here. So if you like that feature where you can swipe from a corner to take a screenshot, just swipe up from the lower left-hand corner or swipe from the lower right-hand corner to open up a quick note. If you like those two features, you're going to have to stick with the simple mode, with the simple full screen app mode. And then we can also start our picture-in-picture automatically. So those are the different settings that we have for windowing. So that's how we work with Windows on the iPad with iPadOS 26. Basically what we're able to do is just drag from the lower right-hand corner when we're in this new mode, and then we can turn an app into a window. When we turn an app into a window, basically what it does is it moves it into its own space, a windowed space. All of our apps that are in Windows are going to be in that single space. So basically what we're able to do is we're able to still keep our apps open in full screen mode if we want, or we can open them up in windowed mode, and we can easily swipe back and forth between those different apps. We can resize our windows. We can even arrange them by long pressing on the dots. And then don't forget, if we flick down from the top, we also have a menu bar, just like we do on the Mac. So that is our new windowed mode that was introduced with iPadOS 26. Now, if you found this video helpful, what you may want to do is like the video. You can subscribe to my channel. You can share it with your friends and family. In addition to that, I also have a couple of other options. If you want to help support my efforts in creating these videos, I have a membership-based site, danstutorials.com, and then I also have a course site if you're not a fan of memberships or subscriptions. I also have a course site at dansonlinecourses.com where you can purchase individual courses. As of this recording, I have one course on there for the iPhone, but I am going to introduce a new course on the iPad, which includes this video. That is a one-time purchase. It is not a subscription. With either one of these options, you are helping support a small business. It is just me in a corner office of my house. I'm not part of some large organization. So when you become a member of my site, or you purchase a course, or you do both, I have people that have done both. When you purchase a course or become a member, you are helping support my efforts in creating these videos. Check out danstutorials.com or dansonlinecourses.com for more information, and thanks for watching.